We spend a lot of time talking about the things you shouldn't do and things you need to pay attention to, but we like to end our presentation with the things that you may want to aspire to as a school committee. And as I mentioned in the introduction, there were 2 studies. I think one was done in '08 and one was done in '10 on a national basis of what are the effective characteristics, what are the good characteristics of effective school committees? What kind of things can we all do to make sure school committees work in an appropriate fashion? And we just wanted to run these through for you. We think that they make a lot of sense and you should pay attention to them, even though they may appear to be corny. The first is, and a lot of them are just common sense, having a collaborative relationship with staff and the community, and not a controversial relationship on every single issue with them. Everything doesn't have to be a fight. Most things should not be a fight. You should be seeking common ground on issues, because you're a committee. Committee, it will be ruled by the majority, but you should seek to appease everybody reasonably that you can on the committee and accommodate the views of the community. So you have to look at all the stakeholders and pay attention to all their interests and respect them. Do you want that one?
Have the data that's necessary to make a decision. Don't just go on what a couple of people tell you. Get an investigation done, and don't go do the investigation yourself. Ask your superintendent to have somebody investigate if it's not going to be the superintendent. So again, everything needs to be data-driven.
You know, over the last 5 years, if you talk to your superintendents, you'll see that results are connected to data more and more and more. And when you make decisions, before you make decisions, you should be asking your superintendent to give you presentations on data and what does the data indicate, what do they recommend to you in terms of making a decision or moving forward in a different direction, and they should be able to do that. If they don't have data to support their position, you have to question whether or not really that's a direction that you should go in.
Short presentations, otherwise your school committee meetings go on for 5 hours.
So I've been in school committees where people argue over the size of doorknobs on doors and whether or not they should be made of brass or silver coating. Why would you do that? The school committee meeting, right? So be accountability driven. Don't spend a lot of time on operational issues that the superintendent or a subcommittee could be concerned with. Focus on what you're there for, which is student achievement, right? And running an efficient school district. Mary Ann?
When we say watch the return on investment, how are your kids doing? Now that doesn't mean that everything is going to be rated by how your test scores are, because that's just one piece. But again, what are your children achieving? How are things going? What's the feeling in the district? Again, what are we doing and what's the return? Now, test scores are becoming too important as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they're a piece, but they're only a piece of the puzzle. They're not the beginning and the end. So yes, definitely look at how your test scores are going, but look at everything else that's going well in the district too.
You should take time at school committee meetings to discuss what your shared values are and how you can all embrace concepts that all kids can succeed. Again, it sounds like common sense, but there aren't very many school committee meetings that discuss those kind of issues. You discuss paying bills. Sometimes you discuss policy issues, educational matters, which you should spend a lot of time discussing, and your superintendent would love to discuss publicly. Somehow those start to fall through the cracks, and you become more and more operational driven. So take a step back as a committee. Even have meetings where you can just discuss educationally related issues. You'll find that that will energize your committee and it will energize you, because you know that you're contributing in a positive manner to your school committee.
And one of the things that Ben said, I don't agree that this should be just your general meeting that happens once a month. I think these should be extra meetings where you sit down and you have some kind of decisions or policies or updates. Because if you try to do that at a regular school committee meeting, by the time you get to that, everybody's tired. It's been a long day. It's a long night. It's too much to cram into a regular monthly meeting.
I agree with you. Take that out of the tape.
Oh, is that on the thing? He agreed with me.
Take that out of the tape.
See, again, he doesn't know what it's like to sit at the committee and listen to the superintendent go on and on and on and on. I have a superintendent that goes on and on and on and
Kristen?
on.
Colleen? Okay.
My superintendent's not here.
Okay.
I don't sit on her school committee. I sit on a school committee with I say to my superintendent, and if he's here, I'd say it because I do it to him all the time. I'm going to ask you a question, Mike, and I want you to give me an answer in less than 3 minutes. Otherwise, 30 minutes later, I still won't have my yes or no. And those superintendents who are in here know exactly who I'm talking about.
So if you do take time to discuss educational issues, you'll end up with a shared vision of expectations for student achievement, which again is what your committee is about, in essence. Don't go down the rabbit holes and the detours, start talking about other things. Always try to bring meetings back to the central focus. It's really important that you operate under a theory of a united team. Some school committee members see other members as enemies or political adversaries. There are superintendents that don't like their personality. You should understand that you're in a collaborative relationship, all of you. You're locked in a collaborative relationship. And you should seek to make that work because you did get elected to a committee and you did commit yourself to operate within the school district. It's important to be able to do that if you want to move your committee forward. Mary Ann?
Again, do this at a separate meeting. We do run...
That's your whole comment?
No, we run a lot of separate, like sometimes you'll have a Saturday workshop or you'll have an extra workshop. Will you do some kind of training and things like that?
So the best training that you can get, I'm going to step on your toes, is through this association. Because they put together some really quality seminars and information. So take full advantage of it. For the most part, they're free. And they also provide data on their website about contracts, which you all should look at. But this is really we get to see different things that different associations do in other New England states. Rhode Island really is top quality. Take full advantage. You're going to, especially new members, it's going to take you a year or two to figure out what your position means and entails. You have a lot to learn. Talk to a member who was elected last election, and he or she will tell you that. Going to these kind of seminars and being fully informed through your association will help you leap forward. Sorry, Marianne.
How much did Tim pay you to say that?
Nothing.
And did you pay him to say that?
I paid him to say that.
Okay, just checking.
So we just had 3 concluding points. Remember, process is important. The way you do something is as important as the result that you get in the context of the law. Because most of the cases that get fumbled and we end up losing is because you've messed up the process along the way, or somebody in the administration has messed up the process. Okay? So keep one eye on process, one eye on the goal. Both are equally important. Second is use your professionals. So in one town that I represent, a school committee member came up to me and he said, "I don't need to ask you any more questions, Ben." I said, "Well, why not?" He said, "I just finished reading Title 16. I know the law now." I said, "Okay, that's good. You know the law." Understand that both superintendents and attorneys and all your professionals operate in a world of not only memorizing what a statute says, but how to interpret it in the context of a court system, in regulations, experience, in Mary Ann's case, wisdom, hopefully mine too. That wasn't a joke, I was serious. All those elements are important when you come to a decision. And when we give legal advice, our highest calling is to share wisdom with you, not just what does the statute say. So, I'm not done yet. I just want to apply those same comments. I want to apply those same comments to your superintendents, who for the most part really know your districts and they know the problems. So you owe it to yourself to be fully informed by at least those 2 sources and maybe more before you make a decision. Go ahead, Mary Ann, you can do the last one.
There's no right way to do a wrong thing. A school committee member called me a couple of months ago, and first of all, I said to him, "Why did you do anything so stupid?" And then, it's a client. And then I said to him, "Before you're going to do anything stupid again, call me and I'll tell you how to do something right." This is the best statement. There's no right way to do something you have no power to do. Now, you might call your legal counsel and we could talk through how could you eventually accomplish to get the superintendent to do what you want to do. but you can't just go ahead and do something that you're not allowed to do by statute or regulation. No matter how you do it, it can't be done. So listen to, you all have good attorneys in the state. We all work together, we collaborate. You know, we know all of the educational attorneys, we work together. They give good advice, listen to it, and we wish you the very, very best and enjoy your term as school committee.
And thank you for suffering through this.